Welcome to the Pregame podcast. It's a little podcast about whatever the fuck we feel like talking about at the moment, mostly sports, because that's what we do. Why don't we tell people a little bit about ourselves?
So we got Josh Mayoga over here, Walnut Grove grad, provincial champion 2013?
13? Fuck, it's forever ago.
13, yeah, big basketball guy. Played at TRU for a bit himself. My name is Andrew Morris. I also play basketball. I played at STM, played a little bit post-secondary there. So obviously, it's kind of how me and Josh got to know each other a little bit more, and kind of where we connected over basketball, and obviously a little bit of drinking down the road as well.
A little bit of drinking, just a bit.
Just a tad of drinking. So yeah, I think for our pod, we're still figuring it out ourselves, obviously, but we're going to be touching on a couple different topics each week. So just looking at our little outline here. Week one, what do we have? We got a couple current events. We got sports, betting, gambling. We're going to be starting up a new account for that. Interviews with athletes, so I'll probably have some guests on as well. We'll talk about our music tastes, and obviously our favorite of all, a little bit of drinking here and there as well. So we don't really have a concrete plan as of yet, but we're going to pick it up and see where it goes, and hopefully you enjoy listening on what we have to say, because we have a lot to say.
We do have a lot to say. Yeah, especially when alcohol's involved.
Yeah,
the thoughts start flowing.
Yeah, that's how it works. So
why don't we start with our favorite sport, the NBA?
Okay. So
obviously, if you've heard, you know that the NBA bubble in Orlando, they're going to pick up the season. They're going to take, 28 teams?
I don't think it's 28, is it?
26?
Is it 28?
Let's check that really quick.
How many teams in the league?
30? 31?
I feel like 8 teams didn't get invited, so I feel like it's 22.
22 teams.
Yeah. So.
Yep. 22 teams.
Okay.
22 teams to play 8 seeding games to determine playoff standings.
Yeah.
So 22 teams, 8 games each, in the bubble in Orlando. What do you think? Do you think the bubble works? Like, are you happy that the NBA is starting back up again?
Well, that's kind of an obvious one. Obviously, I'm ecstatic because life without sports is a tough life. I'm just not really sure if it's really going to work. I mean, you've even kind of seen with the Brooklyn Nets now, who are included in the bubble teams. Obviously, they won't really be a contender this year with KD still out, and I think Kyrie's done. And then you have Dinwiddie testing positive. You have DeAndre Jordan testing positive. You have a bunch of guys just saying they're not going to play. And I mean that team's basically falling apart. I think they signed Beasley, they signed Jamal Crawford. Like, they're just trying to sign whoever they can to try and put a roster and to finish it. And that's not even, we haven't even started training camp yet.
Yeah.
So
I think they're just getting to the bubble today. I think LeBron said he was leaving today. Yeah, they're just getting there right now. So you see teams falling apart. I feel like that'll be a more common thing.
Yeah.
Is someone testing positive. I mean, testing every day. Here's the thing. If you test positive, some like really healthy guys, obviously these guys are in the best shape of their lives, probably kicking this thing in a few days.
Yeah, if less. Yeah.
So are they getting kicked out of the bubble for a few days, testing over there multiple times, then coming back?
No.
Or you test, you're done?
No, they self-isolate for 7 days, I think. So I think if you test positive, you're done for a week, and you isolate. I'm not sure how it all works out, but I guess you have to stay in your room, and they'll bring you your food, and you'll do all that stuff. But I don't know. I just can't see it working. 7 days is obviously not. Yeah, it's kind of a short period of time in the long standing of things. But the amount of people that are going to test positive, or even if they're just asymptomatic, like they're not showing signs.
Yeah.
They're just in great shape people. But if you're going to contract the disease, you're going to contract it. So.
Yeah. And the other thing moving forward with that is these guys are supposed to be in this bubble in Orlando, which, yeah, I've heard a lot of the complaints about it, that it's, 3 hotels, these guys can't leave, they can't have family come in or anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many guys are going to really want to stick around. Like, you're looking at the Lakers and teams that are making really long runs into the thing.
Milwaukee's probably going to do a great job because they grow up and they play in Milwaukee.
Yeah, fair enough. LA guys are going to struggle, I think. Yeah,
I think those guys are going to be a disadvantage for sure.
Just being stuck in that bubble like that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that all worked out too. I mean, you kind of saw, was it LeBron, I think, tweeted I'm going to go do a bid. I think was the terminology used.
Yeah.
The same with Damian Lillard, which I guess is like a prison sentence.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, like it kind of is. They're going in. They can't see their families. They can't see their friends. They're basically locked up in this little bubble for who knows how long. If they make it away, it's going to be a couple months. So
yeah, little bubble, luxurious hotel.
Luxurious hotel. I mean, it's hit and miss. I saw one of the players post a picture of his food, and it looked abysmal. It looked just
didn't look good.
Delicious.
Everything's bagged separately.
Yeah, I think it was like Troy Daniels or something. I forgot who it was, but kind of interesting to think about. You can't see LeBron just having a couple bags of chips and corn nuts or whatever, and like being LeBron.
Like, oh yeah, I'm good. No, well, that's what I'm saying. Someone like that, I can't believe that he can't bring like. I'm sure he has a personal chef.
Oh,
it's
of
LeBron.
course,
You can't. You're telling me he can't bring his personal chef? Like the man invests millions of dollars into his body.
Every year, yeah, I think he spends $1 million a year on his body.
And you're telling me he's just going to go into this bubble, and just that alone, I feel like we're going to see a ton of injuries. There's a ton of injuries of guys who aren't used to this. This is AAU basically.
Yeah,
you're putting all these people in one place, gyms going around all the time.
Yeah.
You're in high school again, but you don't have the durability you did as a high school kid. You know?
Yeah, it's true. It's kind of weird how they're doing it too. I think they're playing multiple games a day. Is that?
What?
I think so. I think there's first couple of days, all those teams have to play their 8 kind of entry games to see for playoff seeding, and I think they all play like all the same day.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Take a look at that.
Just a full day of basketball, though.
Yeah,
I mean, great for the fans.
Great for us.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining, but like, how many of those guys have played a 10 a.m. game over the last couple of years?
That's true.
A game at noon, maybe on weekends, but like a continuous couple of days, it's going to be really interesting. So those guys, obviously, they deserve the treatment they get, but they're, NBA guys are probably a little bit pampered too. They have their games every day at 7 or 8, and they get the court to themselves all day.
Yeah.
They get their jump shots up. They get their shoot arounds. If they want to go if they want to go in the weight room, they have their own weight rooms. They have like it all kind of played out for them as they should. They're the best players in the world. But when you have 22 teams in this little bubble and everyone's going to be competing, like I can't see them having 22 separate weight rooms. I can't see them just getting in whenever they want and just having their personal trainer put them through their workout. I can't see them just going to any old court and just saying, okay, I'm just going to get 200 shots up by myself right now because I don't even know if they have enough courts, especially not for 22 different teams just wanting to get shots whenever they want.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this is the thing that affects, I think, like a lot of casual fans may not understand it. They say, oh, these NBA guys, they make so much money. Just go sit in the bubble and do. Like a lot of these players are, like you said, like a little bit pampered, but it's not pampered per se, but it's
they're treated as they should.
Yeah, they're professionals.
Yeah,
they're used to having an open gym probably from high school. A lot of these guys have the keys to their gym. They go to college; it's unlimited. Like the gym's open whenever.
Yeah.
Weight room's open whenever.
Yeah.
I was listening to JJ Redick's podcast maybe a week ago, and he was talking about how habitual he is on a game day. How like everything is perfectly scheduled.
Yeah.
To the way he likes it, nap here, eat here, shots up there.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, same things every time. And you're talking about going to a bubble now where that isn't a possibility for someone like that. And it's not, I'm sure it's not just JJ Redick there. I'm sure a lot of those guys get to that level because they build these habits and they follow them like crazy. They're meticulous with what they do. So that's gonna be rough to see. I mean, does it degrade the level of basketball that we're going to be seeing? Like, is it going to be as good as what we're used to?
That's a good point. I haven't thought about that. I mean, potentially, it might not be to the level it was. I'm just looking at that JJ article right now, and it says he does this. Yeah, he finds his meals, naps, shots, and well in advance of what he's wearing. Even his socks. Yeah. Has the same granola bar before every game. Has the same meal. I can't see every single one of these guys getting the treatment that they're probably used to.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Don't get me wrong.
At the end of the day, it's back, and I'm not complaining like it's back.
I'm just a little skeptical of how good the final product is going to be.
Well, it's better than nothing, man. At the end of the day, too. I've been watching the tournament or whatever it is, that 100-team tournament.
Oh yeah.
I've been that desperate where I'm watching these older kind of retired guys going at it and playing basketball. So,
yeah, I mean,
anything's better than what we've currently got going on. But yeah, it probably won't be the same stench or the same quality we're used to.
I wonder how big of a hit the NBA takes if they call this off because too many guys are testing positive a week or two into this playoff thing.
You know
Are they
what?
too deep now to like even call it off?
I feel it's almost 50-50 that they don't even do it. Just based on what Brooklyn's going through without even getting to the bubble.
Yeah.
I know when someone on the Bucks tested positive, so they shut down the Bucks training camp. I would be very happy to see it go all the way through, but I also would not be surprised to see it kind of end short or to figure some other kind of way of getting through the season without playing those couple months, because it's obviously COVID's a really big deal right now and it's a pretty serious illness. So the way it's looking, the way people are getting infected, the way it's so transmittable, I'm not sure what the R naught is. I think it's like 2.5 times more contagious than the regular flu. So.
Right. And I'm looking at this right now. It says July 30th to August 14th is the start of seeding games, right? So that is each team will play 8 regular season seeding games. That's
is, like a month.
That is, we're at July 11th right now.
That's a good point, yeah.
It's about 19 days away. Is that right? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think your math's right there. It's
July
11th and they're starting August
30th. Or July 30th to August 14th. So July 30th will be the first game.
Okay. I read that wrong.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So you have just over 2 weeks of these guys being in the bubble already, right? Like we saw today, LeBron's already heading in to the bubble. Guys like that, once LeBron goes in, I'm sure other guys are going to follow suit, start heading to the bubble.
Yeah, as Pat Beverly said.
You have 2 weeks of basically these guys being around each other, using the same facilities, getting the food from the same people, intermingling there. At what point do the tests become like everyone's testing positive that the NBA says? At what point do you want to put out such a watered down product? Like if you start losing stars, if your Dames and your LeBrons and your ADs and your Kawhis and when those guys start getting testing positive, do you still continue on with the season? I wouldn't mind seeing it, but what are they going to start doing? Bringing in guys from the G League to fill in these roster spots when the guys start testing positive?
Yeah, well, if they can't bring any of the EuroLeague players over, that was kind of the agreement. They're able to sign whoever they want, but I don't think it's any European pros. So ultimately, I think a couple of the stars will test positive, which will kind of hinder the quality of everything. But I mean, what's the alternative? They no season.
True.
So I mean, if LeBron, I feel like if the top guys get it, if LeBron gets COVID, then it's going to be like a oh shit, okay, this is pretty serious.
Yeah.
Because LeBron's kind of the head of everything, right? So if LeBron gets it, or Kawhi, or like you said, Giannis gets it. Maybe potentially depends on how serious.
How sick they get.
Yeah, exactly. So if they show serious symptoms and they're getting extensive care and they're on the breathing machines, maybe the NBA would be like, this is really too much for our players. But I have this feeling if someone all these players are in the best shape of some of the best, most in shape people in the whole world.
Right.
I really can't see COVID hitting them as hard as, let's say, it would hit a 75-year-old or someone with autoimmune deficiency disorder. So realistically, even if they do get it, I'm not sure how bad the symptoms will be. And even if they do, they might just be asymptomatic, right? I feel like that's kind of more common than not with this too. A lot of people get it, but don't really show a lot of symptoms. And I've read contrasting reports on whether or not asymptomatic people can actually transmit it. So
I've read the same stuff.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not a scientist.
We just don't know.
I'm an accountant. I don't do science.
I feel like no one knows.
Yeah, no one really knows.
I think it's the biggest issue.
That's kind of the scariest part about it, is no one really knows what to do about it. I mean, we're still kind of trying to find a vaccine, but that's a year away at minimum, because you have to do the trials and you have to test it on people. And so I don't know. At the end of the day, the NBA is back and I'm happy about it. I would be ecstatic to see the season play through, and even more ecstatic to see LeBron win his 4th. But
so that's the thing about this.
Yeah.
Do you count this championship? Say the Lakers do win. We'll talk about our favorites to win later.
Yeah.
But
Team LeBron would.
Say the Lakers win.
Yeah.
I know for a fact people will hold this this championship will have an asterisk on it
because it's
like,
LeBron. Yeah,
because it's LeBron. But no, but like even then, shortened season, you come in, it's really going to come down to, this team lost this guy to COVID, this and that. Yeah, he's in on the second one.
Peach, Georgia Peach,
Hales.
Yeah,
stuff. If you're listening from this and listen to this and you're from BC, you know that Hales are
the go-to.
the nectar of the gods there.
Yeah, at least I'd say it's a top 3 drink for sure.
Probably. So this championship forever will have an asterisk on it. If LeBron wins, if the Lakers win, do we really count this championship when it comes to GOAT talk? Like this, so this is LeBron's 4th, right? If he wins, is he that step closer to Jordan?
You know what? After watching The Last Dance, I don't know if he'll ever be Jordan. I've been a huge LeBron guy my whole life. I'm Team LeBron. But watching the Bulls franchise and just how dominant they were and how good they were, you can't really argue with 6 championships either. That's a whole discussion in itself, and maybe we'll say for another pod, the LeBron versus Jordan talk. But GOAT talk. That's a big one.
That's a big one.
As far as LeBron independently, 4 championships. Obviously, he's at worst probably the 3rd best player of all time. Maybe top 5 if you're a big LeBron hater. He's definitely, you got to give him at least top 5. He's going to be probably the all-time points leader. He's going to be top 3 or high up there in rebounds. Assists will be top 10. As far as the championship affecting his resume, I mean, it's still a championship, right? I can get the people that said, "Oh, it was a shortened season. Oh, it was COVID, like blah blah blah." But I forgot who it was. One of the NBA players was asked that same question. He said, "I think this is actually the hardest type of championship."
I would almost agree.
Yeah.
I would almost agree.
Because you have to you're in the prime of your season. You have to take 2 months off. You have to stay in shape. You have to social distancing and doing your own thing. You're not really training with teammates, and to come back and say, "Okay, you have 2 weeks for a training camp. Get in shape. We're starting the season, and you're going again." Like I think that almost exemplifies more mental capacity to be able to stay in that good of shape for that long when you're not playing.
Yeah,
and come back and just dominate and win a championship.
Absolutely.
I'd almost argue it's more impressive.
On that, actually, I don't know if this is who you heard, but I heard Richard Jefferson in his podcast say people are saying, all those old guys, they're really benefiting from this, taking those 2 months off. And he's like, no. As an old person, you need that consistency and not just go cold turkey off season and then try to come back. It's probably harder to win the championship right now. Games are probably going to be closer, less rest. It's going to be harder to get good rest. Like you don't have the same facilities that you had.
And you're not going home, right?
You're not going home. You're going to a hotel room. Yeah. You're not getting your bed. You're not getting your room. You're not. It'll be tougher. Yeah. So I mean, to those people who want to put an asterisk on this championship, give it a second thought. It'll be tough. It'll be tough.
I mean, even thinking about back to our playing careers, imagine we say you're kind of in the best shape probably around like February, March when playoff comes around. Yeah. Imagine saying, okay, now playoffs actually start in May. And you just have to stay in shape for these next 2 months, and we're going to start up in May. There's no chance.
Oh, and you're going home. You're going home, and you're not obligated.
Facilities, no. I mean, not like a lot of CS programs have the most incredible facilities, but
still,
it's better than my basement.
Yeah,
so
100%. So, moving past the NBA.
Okay.
Oh, do you want to pick favorites quick? Why don't we pick favorites for win?
LeBron.
You got the Lakers.
LeBron.
You got the Lakers.
Yeah.
I don't want to pick the Lakers. I'd rather see Milwaukee win. I love Giannis. I love the Greek freak. I think his story's amazing.
Yeah.
I think he's an actual freak of nature. I can't believe we're the same species.
Yeah.
I would love to see that man win his first chip.
Different.
I just don't think it's gonna happen.
No. Well, did they lose George Hill? Did George Hill test positive?
I think you're right on that one.
Is he done?
That's the thing. Is there enough break in between George Hill testing positive or whoever it was testing positive to the first game where he can potentially still come back, or does his season just end?
NBA bubble. I actually don't know if he tested positive. Did he? Reflex. I think he's taking a stand against. I think it's the BLM.
The BLM movement.
I don't think he actually tested positive. Let's see. George Hill reflects on racism, says basketball is the last thought in my mind.
Fair enough.
So has he committed to not playing? Because that's a big piece.
I've been seeing that.
I think he said he's not playing.
Milwaukee losing George Hill.
George Hill's legit.
He's legit.
Man.
He is legit.
Although he kind of did screw LeBron over a little bit with those missed free throws game one against the Warriors, I believe it was. But that's the funny thing too. Everyone got so mad at JR. Well, JR was being a bit of an idiot himself. He just caught the ball and ran to half.
Yeah.
That game one of the finals. George Hill had 2 free throws, and all he had to do was hit both to go up 1. I think they were only down 1 point, and he had 2 free throws.
I think you're right.
And he missed the second one,
missed it, yeah.
and JR got the rebound and ran to half court, which I mean that's pretty bad. You're in the NBA, you should know what the score is, but JR's kind of in his own little world anyways.
How do you feel about this BLM movement in the NBA? I, for one, think it's amazing that out of all professional sports, NBA kind of seems to be leading the movement on that. Predominantly black league anyways.
Yeah.
Like, they should be ahead of the pack. I mean, them NFL should both be taking their stands.
The NFL is too.
Yeah.
I feel like the NBA just kind of always been the leader in being social activists.
Yeah.
Kind of doing the right thing. I mean, you saw LeBron wearing the T-shirts for Martin.
Yeah.
Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon Martin, yeah.
Yeah, they were wearing the shirts for that. And whenever there was kind of a topic that would potentially be deemed controversial when it came to race, the NBA, I feel like, always does the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Clippers when Donald Sterling came out with that video.
Yeah, they just kicked them out.
Yeah. Can't say the same for the NFL.
No,
probably not.
No. I mean, Jerry Jones, I don't even think Jerry Jones said anything when this whole thing came to mind. And, some people have been saying, like, silence speaks more than words.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the NBA has always been kind of the leader in that. It's nice. It's great to see. I feel like players in the NBA have more of a voice. I mean,
you know what? I think Adam Silver does a great job too.
Yeah,
Adam Silver does an incredible job of kind of supporting the players and letting the players do the right things, not just as far as BLM and movements, but just kind of always being progressive, I'd say. Roger Goodell is obviously a bit of a character. I've been a huge Tom Brady fan my whole life. I like to cheer for the GOATs. And, he kind of screwed the Patriots once or twice, so a bit of a cold shoulder towards Roger Goodell. But Adam Silver, I think, since he's taken over for, who was the last commissioner? Help me out here. He just passed away.
Why? Why do we forget we're on the spotlight?
He was a great guy. Not an amazing commissioner. Kind of power tripped a little bit. He vetoed that Chris Paul trade.
David Stern. David Stern.
He vetoed that Chris Paul trade to the Lakers, which would have put him with Kobe, which would have been an incredible thing to watch.
Duo.
But Adam Silver, I think, is just doing a great job, and the NBA is doing a great job. They're taking some measures to kind of they're allowing players to put certain things on their back. I think it is. It had to be like
change the names, right? Yeah.
Which I think most did. I think there were only 17 that said that didn't. Which is going to be awkward for those 17
17
players.
guys, yeah.
Everyone's going to have their names on it.
I think the NBA gets it.
They do.
I mean,
yeah.
Talk all you want about the players and stuff being babies, but they're the people that we're paying money to watch. Yeah. And I feel like the NBA gets that. Like without these players, there's nothing, right?
Yeah.
Like, these guys aren't stepping up. So the NBA players get their voice. I think it's dope. I think it's other pro leagues should look up to it. At times, I feel bad for the NFL guys. Your OBJs, your Mahomes, all those guys who, sometimes you get lost behind the face mask.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the thing about the NFL too is I feel like there's obviously some generational talents, like you said, Mahomes there.
$503 million contract.
Yeah, I mean he's an okay player, I guess. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's so many intangibles in football. You're almost, depending on what position you play, you're borderline replaceable. You see a bunch of running backs that come into the league, play 3-4 years, want a big contract, they don't get it, or they go to another team, and then that's kind of it. Like, I think the average NFL career length is 2 years. Is it 4?
4 or 5 years? Three?
It's gotta be less than that.
I think it changes per position, but
Yeah,
it's short. It's short.
Yeah, so you don't really have as much of a say, these running backs trying to command these big contracts, even wide receivers. Like if you're just not going to do as you're told, we'll throw another wide receiver in there. If you're an O lineman, we'll plug in another O lineman. The cornerback, we'll get another cornerback.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks obviously have a bit more say and a bit more power, obviously, but it's not like that in the NBA. Like if LeBron's like, you know what, we better do it this way, you're doing it that way. Giannis says this, you're doing it. You have to do it that way.
Yeah. Speaking of the NFL. Since we're already talking on it, is their season going to happen?
I hope so.
I really hope so.
I am not sure if it will. Again, they were kind of talking about a bubble as well.
Yeah.
How do you fit that many teams with that many players? I was listening to a Shannon Sharp. Was that First Take? Is that First Take, Shannon?
Yeah, it's First Take.
Okay. And he was kind of saying you have to think about, we're going to bring all the players in, so each roster has at least 50, 60 guys.
Yeah.
You're going to bring in all the coaching staff, which is probably, 20 guys.
Yeah.
You're going to bring in all the personal trainers, everything else. You're at almost...
Your equipment managers, your doctors, your medics, yeah, all that.
You're at least 100
people
100
per
team. And then you have, 32 teams in NFL as well? So that's like 3,000 people plus.
There's no way.
There's no way they can bubble it. Are they really going to be flying cross country and going to play all these different stadiums? It's more likely than playing in a little bubble like the NBA. But I don't know. I really hope it happens. I'm really hoping to see the Bucks have a big year with Brady and Gronk and the receivers. Finally, Brady has some help, which is good to see. I was really looking forward to that. So
here's my thing about that. I get it. I heard recently on a podcast, I think it was Fighter and the Kid, where they were talking about people signing waivers.
Okay.
So, the teams have their facilities and stuff.
Okay.
Their teams have their facilities and stuff. But for fans and whatnot, if we were to watch a game, say we want to go watch the Seahawks play, they're the closest team to us. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks, yeah.
We want to go down and watch a game. You
haven't been to a game.
I've never been to a game.
Yeah,
I'm dying to go to a game. If this season happens, I will be there.
Something else, yeah.
But so they're saying to make the season happen as normal as possible. The NBA relies heavily on. They're filling out 80,000 people in a stadium.
Yeah.
Maybe more. I don't know.
Let's take a look. What's the biggest one? I think college stadiums actually.
Oh, college stadiums are bigger. I know that there's a few stadiums that go over 100,000. But still, they're relying heavily on fans being there. AT&T Stadium's capacity over 100,000 spectators.
You're right, yeah. So 80 is the cap. Oh, good. Nice.
All right.
Look at that knowledge right
there.
there.
82,000, right?
Okay. CenturyLink's at 69. I think it's up there.
Yeah? It's a third, is that? Yeah.
No, I don't think
Oh, no. And Power Field in Denver. Okay. Well, either way, it's a ton of fans. It's a ton of people.
Expensive tickets, too.
Expensive tickets, yeah.
Oh, Lambeau Field's pretty big.
They rely heavily on fan support. It's money. That's a ton of money.
It is.
I was looking at Seahawks tickets this past season for not that great seats. It was around, I think it was, the cheapest I could find was 180 American dollars. That's not cheap by any means.
Yeah, I know.
So, think about all the money that these teams don't potentially get to see. So I'm saying, I heard that there was a thing where that you could, as a fan, you want to go to the game, sign a waiver that says you can't sue or you're okay with contracting COVID-19 if you go.
You're going to sign 80,000 waivers every game.
I guess maybe you can put it on the back of a ticket.
No.
And it's just like with the purchase of a ticket, you're agreeing to it. Well, you know how tickets have that. The tickets have that thing where if you're a fan at an NBA game or something, if you're going to sit close to the court or whatever, you accept the risk that a player might run into the stands to save a ball, and you can't sue the stadium for damages to you. Okay. So something like that, where as a fan, I'm purchasing this ticket, I'm taking liability for whatever consequences come from going to this game. I would go to the game still. This season coming up, I think I'm at a game.
Yeah.
I think me and at least, what was it for the Seahawks, 68,000? I think me and at least 69,000 other people are at that game. We're selling out that stadium. You know?
100%.
So I really hope the NFL happens. I love fantasy football.
Oh my God.
We're going to have to add that segment to the pod when it comes up. I know.
Life without fantasy. I think I was in 4 leagues last year.
That's like $1 billion industry in itself, is it not?
A billion's a lot.
Yeah.
A billion's a lot of money. But
it's a massive thing.
Massive, yeah, for sure. I don't know about $1 billion. But like NCAA is, I think, $1 billion. I don't know if it's the same. I don't think it makes the same amount of money as the NCAA, but you definitely would make quite a bit for sure.
Quite a bit.
It's quite a big industry in itself.
Well,
fantasy basketball actually ended prematurely this year. Like, were you in that league?
I was in that league.
I don't like fantasy basketball.
I didn't like it. It was my first time trying it after NFL, and I will never do it again. No. I probably won't do it again. It wasn't good. Too many. I think with the NBA is too many guys were resting. Like you put together this good team, load management. These guys want to take nights off, and you're like, well, I really needed that win. It's just what I like about the NFL.
Why Leonard in the first round and plays like 60 games.
Yeah. What I like about the NFL fantasy was you have your roster. Those guys are doing everything in their power to play. Mm-hmm. Injury, whatever comes, they're playing.
Broken leg, tape it up.
You tape it up. Get me in there, coach. Give me a shot. I'm in.
Yeah.
Love that.
I like it too how it's only once a week for fantasy purposes.
Yeah.
Because you kind of have a whole week. You can sign your waiver wire guys. You can kind of drop some guys in there, but you're basically preparing for one day. So it kind of gives you a reasonable amount of time. You're not overdoing it. Whereas NBA is you just set your roster for like every specific day. Then even if you set in advance, guys set games out. It's just too much of a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
On that topic of injuries and stuff, we saw Pat Mahomes. He signed a 10-year deal. So it ends up being a 12-year deal because he has 2 left, plus his new 10-year extension.
Starts in 2 years?
Yeah.
Oh.
So he has 2 years left on his deal. That was a 10-year extension on top of that.
Yeah.
So for $503 million, potentially. Can he even stay healthy for that long?
Oh, boy.
That's a long time.
For any football player to stay healthy for 12 years is extremely unlikely.
Like Tom Brady's an anomaly. He's an outlier.
Tom Brady's his ACL. He missed a couple years here and there.
But he's still there.
He got suspended for Deflategate, which is completely legal and shouldn't have been suspended for. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, even for quarterbacks, they've done a lot though. They've changed a lot of the rules to protect quarterbacks.
Right.
So they can't. The Aaron Rodgers kind of rule where the lineman the D lineman fell on top of him and broke his clavicle, so you can't even fall on top of the quarterbacks anymore. So they're really doing everything in their power to protect them. I mean, Pat Mahomes is obviously a generational talent. He's already won MVP. He's 24 years old?
24
years old. I mean, quarterbacks can obviously play until they get older. Tom's at 42 now.
If you got a line.
If you have a line. The thing I'm worried about... No, he didn't. The thing I'm worried most about for that contract isn't for Pat himself. It's for the rest of the team in the salary cap.
Right.
Because, like you see, if... Like, Tom Brady is... What a great guy he is, right? Tom Brady, the best guy. The best guy. What he always did is he took pay cuts, but his deal with Belichick was that if I'm taking a pay cut, whatever I take a cut of, you're paying the O-lineman. So he would always go and have good O-linemen in front of him to protect them.
Which made sense, yeah. They always had like a top 3 line in the league.
They always had a good line, but it kind of hurt the talent around him at the receivers. He didn't really have too much help. He had Randy Moss there for a bit, which obviously was a good piece to have. Pretty generational talent. But other than that, I guess Gronk was pretty good too. But
yeah, Gronk's pretty good. Hall of Fame. Not bad.
Probably the best tight end of all time. Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe Tony Gonzalez, 1 or 2.
Shannon Sharp's up there.
Antonio Gates? No.
And that's
Antonio Gates.
Tony Gonzalez.
And
Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp's he's not like the best ever. He was good.
Hall of Famer though.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe not the best ever, but yeah, Tony Gonzalez. Yeah, so Mahomes,
back
huge
to Kansas
contract.
City. So it's a lot of money for a team that has to pay a lot of other really good players.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're going to have to pay Tyreek Hill. I mean, bearing that he doesn't do anything stupid over the next couple of years, which, I mean, knowing Tyreek, he probably will.
Travis Kelce,
who's obviously really good. He's getting a bit older. I'm not sure how much he has left in the tank, but he's obviously, I think he's the best receiver.
Love Kelce. Yeah. He's so good.
He's a beauty, too.
Yeah,
good stuff.
big beauty.
You ever watch that show, like Finding Love with whatever it was called?
I actually never watched it. I just I saw that maybe a couple months ago, and I was like, "What?" I was so interested in seeing it. I couldn't find it anywhere.
Catching Kelce.
Catching Kelce, eh?
Yeah, he had a whole show. He was the Bachelor. What a guy, man.
What a guy!
This guy, man.
He's a beauty. I would love to drink with Kelsey.
Yeah, he probably gets after a little bit. But yeah, so they have to pay all those other guys, and they got to pay like if they want to go to O-line. If their O-line, their defense is kind of suspect, but they have some bigger names on the defense there. So
I hope it works out. I want to see Mahomes win multiple championships. I love him. I love Mahomes. I think he is so dope, so refreshing at the quarterback spot.
Yeah.
Scrambles, throwing no-look passes. Like when have you ever seen that? He's bringing the finesse of like a good basketball player into football. It's great to see. It's really refreshing for the game.
Well, he was a multi-sport athlete himself.
Yeah, baseball, football.
You can definitely tell he wasn't just a football all the way.
Have you seen that Instagram video of him playing intramural basketball at Texas Tech? He's not bad. He's not bad.
I saw his high school mixtape actually. Someone posted on Instagram, and I think he had a couple dunks in there.
I like that. Mahomes, man. I love Mahomes. I think he's my favorite player going right now in the NFL.
You know what?
After Russ, though, Papa Russ. Go Hawks.
Oh my Russ is just...
He carries that franchise.
He is actually unbelievable how good Russ is. He gets no love for how good... I think he was, probably second in MVP voting. I want to say, was it this year or 2 years ago? Was it this year? Maybe Lamar. He was a top 5 MVP candidate the
consistently.
last
He's always been up there.
He almost had it. That Seattle line is just awful. It's been an awful line for I don't know how long. He can create things out of nothing. He's so mobile. Watching him play live, he's not that big of a guy.
No.
And there's always 2 guys chasing after him, but he scrambles. He finds guys. He doesn't even have great receivers a lot of the time too. Like what?
DK and Tyler Lockett.
Tyler Lockett was the wide receiver one this year because I guess Doug Baldwin career-ending injuries. What is he, 6 foot?
6. I think that's 6'1", 6 feet maybe.
I don't even know if he's 6 foot, man.
That might be a stretch. 6 foot in cleats.
5'10", yeah.
6 foot in inch high cleats, 2 inches. Yeah.
Classic.
Love him though. He's so good, man. He's so good. Actually, one of my cousins is a huge Miami Dolphin fan.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Oh, man. I know. I mean, he'll live and die by the fact that they're one of the winningest franchises in NFL history.
30 years ago.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Really
and
a lot happens in 30 years.
I kind of turned him into a secondary Seahawks fan. I was like, if Miami's not playing, if they're not playing each other, you got to go for the Hawks, man.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, I just don't know. Like, how can they win this game? They have nobody.
I don't like cheering for good teams.
And then every week, Russ would just scramble and just launch a ball, and it's all of a sudden touchdown. You're like, how is this even happening? He was so exciting for the game. I need to see Russ in person before I die.
Yeah.
He's the man.
He kind of he opened the door for a lot of smaller quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Drew Brees is pretty small, but he's definitely a pocket passer accuracy type guy.
Yeah.
I think without Russ, you don't see kind of this new mobile
Kyler Murray.
Yeah. You don't see guys like that going over first overall, even in the first round, because for so long the NFL was like you have to be 6'6". You have to have a massive arm.
See over the line. Throw 80 yards.
Pocket passer. That's all. I mean, look who watched on MVP, Lamar Jackson. Who's obviously a pretty decent. He can throw pretty well he's obviously in the NFL as a quarterback, but his legs make the difference. Because when the defense has to respect both throwing and running, it makes the offense that much harder to win. So.
Oh, I love watching Lamar too.
I haven't really watched too many of his games. I didn't really have anyone on the Ravens in fantasy this year, which is unfortunate. Nice what you got there.
I had to go to the third one. Georgia
Beach, nice.
Just drank a couple of the Alabama Passions.
Oh,
this is the best Hale by far.
You know, one of the best things that Hale ever did was upgrade to the Alabama Passion in their porch packs. And replace the
green tea,
whatever.
Disgusting.
It was. No one liked the green tea.
I would use the green tea strictly for shotgunning because you don't have to taste it.
You know what? If I just close my eyes and just get this down in 2.5 seconds.
I can pretend I'm not drinking this.
Yeah, those things are awful.
They were terrible.
But you know what? Hale obviously is doing a good job for themselves. They're throwing in some Alabama Passion. Amazing drink.
Yeah, can we get them for a sponsor? Like, if someone at Hale is listening to this, we love your product.
I'm a big fan of your product.
We drink it consistently.
I think if Hale ever sponsored me, that would be it. You know, everyone has that moment in their life. You're like, I made it. That's it.
I would tattoo Hale's logo to my ass cheek 100%.
Yeah.
If they became a sponsor, just
in a heartbeat.
Gotta love the Alls.
Dream come true.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on from the NFL. Big night tonight. Yeah. We're heading over to our buddy's house. We're gonna watch UFC 251.
Tribe House, yeah.
Tribe House. UFC.
Go ahead.
I'm just getting into UFC, so I don't know shit about it.
Yeah.
But I love these savages that kick each other in the face and pummel each other till one of them's barely alive. It is absolutely ridiculous that this sport is legal, but I'm with it.
I don't know how it's legal. I honestly don't. They're really just beating each other to a pulp.
You're watching people on TV getting CTE before your eyes.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like boxing was tough enough with those big gloves. Now you have people kicking each other in the face too.
And I'm so with it. I love it though. I love it.
It's pretty. Yeah.
So looking at tonight's card, we have. We'll start at the top. We have Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah.
You're
a big Jorge guy. You're a big
Jorge guy.
Yeah.
He is street Jesus.
Apparently.
I watched the first UFC fight I ever watched was him versus Ben Askren. It was a 5-second fight. Yeah, he holds the record for the fastest knockout.
He does.
In the UFC. This man need another grown-ass man in the head and knocked him out cold and still got 2 shots on him. This sport is absolutely ridiculous, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
So tonight's event,
I think he's losing too. I don't think he has a chance.
Bro, I can't bet against Masvidal. I love him so much.
If you're trying to make money, you probably should.
I'm gonna still bet on Masvidal.
He doesn't even have that great odds. He's only plus 200 from what I saw.
Plus 240 right now.
Plus 240. Think about it. He's been training, but he had 1 week to prepare for Usman.
Yeah.
And Usman,
Okay, so here's the thing about this fight.
16-1.
It was his fight originally. He wasn't happy with what the UFC was paying him, so he dropped it. They picked up Burns. Jorge Masvidal kept his training camp up.
Yeah.
When Burns fell out...
Was he preparing for Usman the whole time?
For this fight.
Okay.
So he was preparing for this fight, dropped out, I believe. I don't want to speak like I fucking know everything, but... so he was preparing for this fight. I don't know why Burns dropped out. I think maybe...
Did they drop Burns or did Burns drop out?
It looks like Burns removed from UFC 251 main event.
It just got rid of him? So what does that say? Claims
Masvidal will be a boring fight.
No,
well, the thing is Burns is a wrestler, Masvidal's a striker, Usman's a wrestler. So they're kind of contradicting styles there. They're not going to beat each other to a pulp, but I'm hoping Masvidal gets Anyways, they dropped Burns maybe a week and a half ago. Masvidal stepped back in.
Interesting.
So, but he technically he says he never stopped his training camp the whole way. So usually training camp, he was going 5 days a week, maybe 6, a couple days rest. He went down to 3 or 4 days a week. Okay. So still not the best, but it was something. And he was training for this guy. And he had
I guess Usman was probably training for Burns then.
Both. I mean, he must have because he started with Masvidal, switched to Burns, and now he's back to Masvidal.
Interesting.
Anyways, I'm excited to see the fight. I'm going to be drunk as fuck while we watch it.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. I'm really getting into UFC in general. I'm hoping that our plan here moving forward is we're gonna open a betting account with Bet365, maybe a couple other ones if we get really into it.
Yeah,
but
big Bodog guy.
Yeah, but we want to open an account with Bet365 and. You're basically going to watch either our lives fall apart betting our money on this or we're going to come out winning. Yeah. But we're going to try to start watching as many sports as we can to start betting on as many things as we can.
Yeah.
So we're kind of going to fill you in every week on betting segments, what we can do with UFC moving forward, NBA starting back up, which is nice for us because we get to bet on that.
I actually know the NBA. I can bet on the NBA.
Yeah, we can bet the NBA. Well, I mean, we'll learn UFC.
As of yet.
But yeah. So tonight, I mean, hopefully you watch. Have you seen a UFC event?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay,
I watch a fair bit of them, but
tonight's a big night. If we get into it, maybe we can start making bets. Maybe we'll lose everything we've ever owned, which would be hilarious for you guys.
I own too much right now.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that one. And then maybe, or maybe we win big. Yeah. I don't know, but I feel like sports betting will be a fun thing for us to do as a podcast. Keep you guys tuned in on the bets that we make moving forward in different sports. I mean, we'll obviously end up betting NFL when it starts back up. I'm not a big baseball guy. Are you? I don't watch that much baseball.
But my brother is a pretty big sports bettor, and his claim to fame is baseball and tennis.
Baseball and tennis.
Baseball and tennis, yeah. It's a lot technical, a lot of stats, a lot of numbers.
Okay.
I personally not the biggest baseball bettor in the world. I think it's so just sporadic.
Right.
I mean, let's say a guy strikes out versus hitting a grand slam. That's 4 runs. Like that's just like a small.
Yeah.
You know, like NBA. Like I like the consistent sports. I like the NBA where you can't hit a 15-pointer. You have to hit a bunch of 2s and 3s and free throws. You have to work your way up. Football's a little bit hit and miss because there's some crazy things that happen.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of a higher amount of points. Things like baseball and soccer is super tough too. I
actually like watching soccer a lot.
I love soccer.
I actually like watching soccer a lot.
I'm a big Euro Cup, World Cup guy.
Oh yeah. I get super into
Germany, baby. Too. Yeah.
You would.
I will not talk to anyone during those.
No. Argentina all the way. Got the
Are you
goat.
Argentinian?
Got the no. I don't actually. The reason we support Argentina in this family is I have an uncle who's Argentinian. The man is the most hardcore Argentine. He will die for the Albicelestes. Like he loves. Oh my god, he loves it. So he actually got me my first basketball jersey, which was a Manu Ginobili Argentina national team jersey. So sweet, Manu Ginobili, the GOAT, the South American GOAT, I should say. Yeah. So this family, Luis Scola, yeah. So
Pablo Prigioni played on the Knicks.
We love Argentina when it comes to soccer in this family. We go hard for our Albicelestes. Got to represent. But yeah, so UFC betting, moving forward with that, we'll make sure that.
I'm looking at the lines right now. I kind of like the decision for Usman. I don't think Usman's going to tap out Masvidal.
But okay, so here's the thing: is Usman's a wrestler, so he doesn't have too much KO power.
No, I know. Well,
so,
it's split. It's plus 150 for KO or plus 150 for decision. So I mean, it's kind of the only way he taps out Masvidal is by wrestling him out.
Yeah.
Is Masvidal going to go down and tap out? I don't know.
I feel so he's going to want to take downs. Usman's going to want takedowns. Masvidal's going to come in looking for strikes.
He's going
to try to knock him out. He's going to try to knock him out.
I don't think Usman's going to knock him out.
Out of Masvidal's 35 fights, after his 35 wins.
Yeah.
I think 2 came from submission, 14 were knockouts. The rest were decision.
That's a lot more decisions than I anticipated.
Yeah.
Because he trained with Kimbo, right?
And
Kimbo was just he was the only. If he didn't knock you out, he was losing.
So the thing about what I've always thought, what I've noticed in UFC. So we have 3 title bouts tonight. Kamaru Usman has the title bout for welterweight.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is when it comes down to decision, they really want to take the champ already.
Of course, yeah.
And judges are crooked.
You really have
boxing.
to dominate to claim the belt because you can't just take it away from the champ.
Right. But in this scenario, so it came out earlier this week when Masvidal got announced to take the spot of Burns. Masvidal started getting all this press, all this social media activity. People were like, Masvidal, loving him. Mm-hmm. And Usman came out and was like, but I'm the champ. And he got a little upset. He was a little butthurt over the fact that Masvidal, who's ranked 3rd and he's the champ, was getting more press than he was.
Has he ever been the champ?
No.
Interesting.
So I think it's better for the UFC. They end up making more money if Masvidal wins tonight. He's a big name. He's on the cover of UFC 4. He's a huge name now. He's made his name in the UFC. People love him. People love his backstory. Backyard brawls to UFC, knocking people out in 5 seconds. He's a legend, dude. He's a legend. Okay. He's street Jesus. Okay. So, I mean, if it comes down to decision, I'm kind of iffy. I'm like, I want to make a bet tonight. So I'm either going to bet Masvidal for the either knockout or Masvidal for the decision. The submission odds are really nice, but I just don't think he's going to happen.
No, he's not going to win by
decision. No. So his last submission was in 2013, I believe.
That's probably pretty unlikely. Then.
Yeah. 2 decisions in his whole career.
Plus 300 if you look at it like that. He's only plus 300 for a KO, which is the only way he's going to win. Which isn't that great of odds.
I think people are looking at it like he had six days to, you test positive or test negative for COVID and come into the fight, cut a bunch of weight. I mean,
I don't think they're testing for COVID. I don't think it's the number one precaution for these guys.
they are actually. He had to. So
well, they're testing them, but I don't think that's what they're most worried about. All the stuff these guys are putting in their system.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Double check he doesn't have COVID. Yeah, anabolics. And
no, man, Masvidal would never.
Or steroids and shooting after that.
So we'll see tonight. I think I'm gonna make a bet. I think I'm gonna go for Masvidal for the KO. I think you can bet on actual specific rounds. You can do it, and the payout is ridiculous. But
you can.
But I'm gonna stay away from that because I just don't know.
It's too hard.
Yeah, it's too hard.
That's how you lose.
Yeah. So
we talked about
Masvidal KO. That's what I'm betting. Not gonna bet big on it. Maybe $50, maybe $100. We'll see what happens. We'll see how I'm feeling. You get like maybe 5 more beers than me. I'm up to 200. I don't know. I don't know at this point in time, but I'm betting Masvidal for the KO. I'm going all in for Masvidal for the KO. Yeah, and if it happens tonight, I need to see you shotgun like 2 beers at least.
Yeah, but it's not going to.
Okay, but if it happens, I need to see the shotgun. I need to see the shotgun at least two.
Looking at the odds right now, I shotgun 3 beers, you shotgun 1, so that's kind of the equal payout.
Why don't we make that bet between us right now?
You might as well just do it right now because it's not happening.
We'll see.
He's not winning the fight.
We'll see.
He's got 13 losses.
He was young and he was a backyard brawler. He's worked his way up. He's better now. He's one of those guys that aged like a fine wine. All right.
Okay.
I'm betting on Masvidal to win tonight. I want to see it. I'm pumped to be around the boys, drinking heavily, watching UFC 251. Mm-hmm. I'm pumped for it.
Okay, I'm going Usman by decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have our own little side bet here. Masvidal wins, you shotgun 3. Usman wins, I shotgun 1.
Sure.
All right. Well, I'll hold you to that. We'll post that on some sort of Instagram page of ours or something. Yeah. The pregame pod. Okay.
There's no after game with COVID.
No.
No after game.
Yeah.
That's it. So.
Mm-hmm. There will be an after game at some point. Hopefully we can start.
Fingers crossed. Down
maybe
the line.
a little vlog series for you guys to keep up. I mean, it's funny if we're getting hammered on a pod.
Yeah.
And then you're watching the aftermath at us wherever we are.
That might be our differentiation.
That might.
I think we're still kind of planning the structure as mentioned earlier, but what our plan is right now is to do a pod probably once a week, sometime on the weekends, and just kind of talk our way through this as we have a couple of hay-alls or nudes or White Claws. I love White Claws.
I love White Claw.
What's the best White Claw flavor?
Mango.
Dude, okay, come on.
Mango or black cherry?
It's obviously, it's the cherry. It's obviously
mango or black cherry. I'm good with both. I like mango though. That's the exotic in me.
Exotic. I had a mango nude last night and it was awful.
Really? I didn't even know they made mango nudes.
Me neither. I don't think I've had a nude in like 6 months, but I had a couple yesterday and that mango was just awful. It just really makes you appreciate the White Claws in my opinion. Yeah. So I think what our plan is for this is we'll do a pod probably once a week. We'll talk about our bets and what's going on in sports and current events. So then we'll kind of film the aftermath of what goes on with the boys, which is usually the best time of the week. So
yeah, that is the best time.
That's the highlight.
So hopefully we can fill you guys in on that as we move forward.
Yeah, and then Monday to Friday, we're just grinding. So.
Just grinding at work.
Yeah.
We want to apologize in advance if this audio comes out a little funky. We kind of threw this together today.
Yeah.
We'll get better though. If this turns out okay, yeah, we'll try to get ourselves a little bit of a better setup here as we go. Mm-hmm. But I think we're at an hour now. We're at 53 minutes so far. Not bad.
Nice little intro pod.
Yeah. Just for the intro pod. Do you want to go grab a flight at the local brewery?
Absolutely.
All right.
I thought you never asked me.
So thank you for tuning in. If you're listening to this, we appreciate you guys. We'll try to come out with a pod every week.
Try our best. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening in. It's pod number 1 for pregame boys over here.
Yeah.
We're in for a good night tonight. So that's us signing off, and we'll hopefully have more pods coming out soon.
All right. We're out.
Yeah.
Peace.